score him. That's very unheard of. That just tells you how good he is defensively and all the little things that it takes to win. That's Herb Jones.
He's been great, and there's those numbers, 10.8.
And I think it's really terrific, and they need to be saluted, especially the players and the coaches and all the trainers and all the people involved, because really, to make it happen this year was special, because I thought it was a time where
no good.
I'll tell you one thing, Tennessee making some high percentage shots, 15-foot jump shots, and then driving, getting into the lane.
Springer in traffic, that's going to go out off Quinterly, and it'll stay.
He's got 2 fouls right now, too. They should attack him off the bounce. Tennessee's really played well early in this game. And Alabama's been challenging off the bounce, even though the three's enough for them. They made 2 so far.
Shackelford keeps shooting around and out. So Jaden Shackelford off to a bumpy start shooting, and the run out for Springer, and he flushes it home.
What a great pass, though.
And Alabama at bay. Again, no John Fulkerson for Tennessee. Took an elbow yesterday, a facial fracture. And there's no Joshua Primo. Oh, Jaden Springer reins one in.
Good space with the dribble off the bounce. I mean, there's no question he's going to be a first-round pick in the NBA draft. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's just really a talented player. I like to see the kids stay in school, but it's pretty tough to.
Which he had 9 yesterday.
I'm going to tell you
5 on the shot clock. Springer had it, lost it, gets it back. And that ball is blocked by Herb Jones.
4.
Did a lot of other things, didn't he, though? Bailey rises up, no good.
He's such a dominant performer, even at the next level. That was a set play, and they really executed well, except didn't finish it off. Got the open shot they wanted.
Herb Jones takes it, his finger roll comes up short.
No place in the game for that. Obviously a flagrant 2 and had to be ejected. But he will not be penalized losing the game because he's not being ejected for fighting. But it was great to hear the news that he called up John.
COVID and had pauses, etc. That the idea that your top seeds are going to just run the table, it doesn't feel like that because of the way the season's been played is going to happen. We'll see if Gonzaga.
More movement, get a little screen, get a guy free.
Again, no John Fulkerson, and as a result, they need Josiah Jordan-James, who started in his place, to stay on the floor. Goal yesterday from Omar Payne. John Fulkerson with a black eye and a facial fracture.
I see that sequence. There's just no place in the game for something like that. You just hope that.
Little guy out of him, and you know what he does? He goes to work. Put a big guy at him, he steps in the way, knocks down the 3. That dude is a tough matchup.
I think ball got into the cylinder or above the rim. They called the foul. So 2 shots coming up for Keon Ellis. Chance to pull within 1. Fascinating to see Alabama get 2 points from Jaden Shackelford.
Stopperia is voted Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. Both these clubs are going to be tough outs in the NCAA tournament. They really are.
Yep.
They're going to be very solid basketball teams that are going to create a lot of problems.
Guy right there in the corner, 33 into the game for Tennessee. They discussed a couple of things with Fulkerson. As Johnson drives, kicks to an open Springer. That 3 is no good.
I get a heavy dose of this zone from Florida today. Just the concern of Springer and Johnson being able to make plays. And
Castleton block. And you need the bench as he picked up his 2nd personal.
strong drive, just didn't get the finish, but really well off of 2 feet. Springer learning to make basket against anyone else in this league other than E. Pons.
Springer, wide open 3, no good.
And the importance of a game. I think he knows the physical play can bother Florida, therefore Plavsic gets some run.
Appleby down, and you can see he's gimpy a little bit on that right leg of his. He got Mason Jitobo, who's into the game for Florida, on him. And Fulkerson fade, no good. Look at Johnson grab that rebound. Kick 3, no, and it's Lewis who comes away with it.
Man, as a decoy, as a screener, then they kind of snuck him way in the far corner, and he slid up for the slot 3.
Springer deep in the paint, and he went right around Trey Mann. Nice play by Jake. 6 blocks for E. Pons today. Didn't get a hand on that one, but he certainly altered the shot. Great take, boy, all of a sudden, Jaden. Out of the Big 12, Virginia and Duke, both out of the ACC tournaments. Here are the projections from Joe Lunardi with regards to the SEC teams. As Vescovi rarely goes to his right. He'll kick it to Pons. Thinks about it. Ramp.
I couldn't tell, but it was a really good job by Springer to feel the presence of Scotty Lewis coming in from behind, because had he gone up on the left side to try to finish, blocked.
And that 4 seed Tennessee is going to take on number 1 seed Alabama.
Ravi, these two teams have fought their guts out.
Yep.
I mean, factor in this ball game for the Gators, 0 in black.
Florida is missing a guy who has played 81% of the minutes in conference play. And a season-to-season score. It's short with Castleton back on the floor. Vescovi finds it. Springer. Quiet game so far. He still hasn't scored. 9. Double comes on Fulke. Springer scoreless in this game. Got Lewis in the air. And an air ball from 10 feet. Shot clock at Bailey off the inbounds, couldn't knock it down. Tennessee with another bucket. That's Fulkerson over the back, crashing the board. Springer steals it.
Just
all the momentum. Jaden Springer with his second bucket of the game. Largest lead for the Vols. Appleby with the bucket, 9-point game.
The rebounds, Tom, for Tennessee in this game. Josiah Jordan-James with 10 and Pons with 8.
All of Pons' 8 have come in.
And Eve Pons will kick it back outside. Mid-range just to beat the shot clock. Won't go for Jaden Springer. They'll get another opportunity.
Beat Ohio State just this past week to get them really in the discussion. Duke have a big win over UVA, but they have some bad quad 2 and quad 3 losses that might hurt their resume more than those of likes Michigan State.
Going to be a foul on Vescovi for the reach and a 1-point Tennessee lead.
High quality of life. Ohio is better for businesses and employees. Because we're not built for followers. We're building for leaders. Check out ohioisforleaders.com.
Some big breakout games and is capable of scoring. He's got a brother, Desmond, who transferred from Brown to Nevada. One of the better scorers out in the Mountain West as well. Great family lineage.
Yeah, when you've got
high-level Tennessee teams, they were playing too.
Springer got it.
I need more from Springer at times with the freshman putting his body on Fulkerson. Switches again, still able to get the easy entry pass to Cardwell. Young guys. Because yes, hey, we're coming back. We're building something here. I played on a team where we had a senior class of 5 or 6 guys, but primarily the younger guys played. This isn't the best story ever, but on the last bus ride of the season, as we lose to Dartmouth, which press you, they just have not looked engaged on either end of the floor throughout the course of this game, and Auburn's been the better team.
That might be, is that an Ole Miss team possibly that might move into that 5th spot? They have a couple of Vandy games and a Kentucky game remaining on the schedule.
Ole Miss can creep in there. They're playing, and you've got to want the ball. And there's Justin Powell. You've got to want the ball in these situations. And Beth, I'm sure you play with some players. You know, some people don't want the rock at this point in time. You've got to want the ball in your hand.
One the other way. Springer, no. Johnson, no. And Pons is his first bucket of the game. He's coming off of a game, pulled it to Levesque at 6-10 against Ole Miss, where he didn't have a single rebound. You want to get Frank Martin's doghouse, be his five-man and not pull down a board. And to your point, moments ago, down 11. I don't have any empirical evidence on this, and I haven't seen a Ken Palmer synergy report. Springer going
them across the Southeastern Conference in many places.
None needed in the Sunshine State. Clock running out. Oh, tough two over traffic in Tennessee by a dozen. Woods down the lane. Fulkerson the board. A push for the break here. Springer and Tennessee trying to run.
And as well as they play on the defensive end, if they get stops, this is then what they want to do. Now you get a stop, now you push. They've got guys that can finish.
Springer with a couple of breakout layups, and Springer have accounted for 53% of Tennessee's scoring over the last 3 games. Springer leading the way. Fulkerson kept it alive.
You're going to get your numbers. Same with Vescovi. We know he's had the hip problem, so he doesn't run as well as he'd like to and defend, but he can sure spot up and shoot it. And he can be a deep, deep threat.
Alabama, the big guy on this LSU team. He stands 6'9", 240. To Jimmy's point, they don't waste a lot of time on offense. They don't seem overly concerned with the defensive side, because his debut was against LSU, like his college debut, and he lit up the Tigers in his first game. No one had really known who Santiago Vescovi was. Now in his sophomore year. Highest three, that finds the bottom. He had 7 points against Mississippi State. All came in the first 4 minutes of the second half. Only his 7th could come for that middle third. Springer was open on the baseline, didn't see him. Instead, Johnson launches another, and he misses it. Good rebound on the defensive glass by Days. James had an alley-oop on the baseline. They missed that. This game is, you can just feel, we are seconds away from a Tennessee loud alley-oop dunk. In spite of the turnovers they've had, that tremendous vertical leap from Springer. It's easy, and there's a bad pass on the inbound, stolen by Tennessee. Vescovi. And there's another dunk. Back-to-back dunks for Tennessee.
Yeah, it converts 5 or 6 people that I take advice from.
Oh. Okay, well, boy, that's a lot on my shoulders. I appreciate that. I would probably move me. Thought I heard a whistle, but I did not. So it's a missed 3 for Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas kicks his legs trying to draw fouls as much as anybody in the SEC, and opportunities because again, they're driving into the paint. The white jerseys are making it a foot race to the ball, and you have to be able to make the next pass.
Tough shot.
Yeah. The LSU's defense, you're going to have to continue to knock down those open looks without hesitation.
Great touch from Watford on the baseline.
Hard to guard, isn't it? 6'9", you can bounce.
Gets the back right on Thomas, and it's been a struggle for Bailey. He hasn't gotten a lot of time so far in this game, only 8 minutes, but we've seen a couple of odd shots. An air ball there in that first shot. Big game on ESPN2 at 4 against Missouri. Should be an interesting test for the Razorbacks.
Wait, Herb Jones transferred to Arkansas?
I'm sorry, I meant to say Alabama, but Arkansas.
Yeah, that ball's got to keep moving. Will Wade's reaction. I mean, he knows right now he's got a chance. It's a battle for second place. And you got Tennessee on your home floor. You've had some success against them last year. Something good has happened for the team in orange. I would almost add Indiana to that list of teams that are out or should be out or could be out. Indiana now 11-9 after that out of bounds play. I drew it up last night in the Kentucky game. Just the old school Texas out of bounds play. Just dive a guy and sneak a guy in behind the action. Very well done by Georgia.
Santiago Vescovi buries
plays and use your speed like you've done the last 3 years in that Tennessee uniform.
The lefty Wheeler misses going to his right. Vescovi open for 3. That's his second triple. What a hot start to this one for Tennessee.
Might have as much room to grow and improve as anyone in this league. I could see them in that Elite 8 game where you're 1 game away from getting to that Final Four.
We got to change the way you're thinking about the calendar.
I don't know if you saw the Ole Miss game last night with it. They were almost 20 offensive fouls called, Dickie V. At some point, you got to stop running guys over as Johnson puts that one in from inside.
He gets the second. It's the offensive rebound. We got two good teams here. Two good teams.
Vescovi will launch a three. Bottom for Santiago Vescovi.
He says he's not,
points.
really doesn't feel down about coming off the bench.
No, 29 minutes. You know, they could have, when Primo went down, started Quinterly, but you're right. He's one of the better 6 men in the
PAE and Premier Medical Group. We have just a regimented system that is set up that we've been doing for the last 4 weeks around championships. It's unbelievable what's had to come together to make it work. Not to minutes.
Here are the projections from Joe Lenardi with regards to the SEC teams. As Vescovi launches a three and misses, we just saw Fulkerson leave with a
teammates. That gets Tennessee's attention.
And I would imagine too, Jimmy, when they get a chance, these Volunteers, to see the elbow, it would fan those flames.
Appleby blocked on his way in. Reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Pons to Springer. Springer to Fulkerson. Juwan Howard's done a magnificent job, and he's got another great recruiting class coming in next year. Here's Fulkerson. Beautiful play.
Really good. That middle ball screen, man, you take away the help on both sides and into the restricted arc.
Pons on DeRuggi. Tennessee playing with a lot of confidence on the offensive end suddenly.
Have to continue to step up for them.
Top 4 recruiting class. Only the 3 blue bloods, Kentucky, Duke, and North Carolina, were better in bringing in the freshmen, and the triple one of the big ones as they will take on Florida in Knoxville next Sunday. And Victor Bailey hits from deep. Real problem trying to defend off the bounce today. Another drive. Johnson, good body control to keep the defender away.
Against John. Boards in this half that led to points. He's trying. They're trying to find a way to will their way to it.
Of course, Arkansas red hot right now. Alabama champ. He's been their go-to guy in the second half. As a team, Auburn shooting better than 55% from the floor. And if you've followed the Tigers this year, this is their MO. A lot of close SEC games.
We're building for leaders. Check out ohioisforleaders.com/TV.
It's with you in the studio, right side of your screen. Illinois and Wisconsin underway. No Io DeSumo in that game.
Andre Hyatt starts for LSU, number 15. We will see Mwani Wilkinson as a long three is drained again. That looked like Days.
Offensive rebound. He's literally sprinting up the sidelines as far as he can to the 28-foot mark. sending a message to everybody. We want to go in this game. He understands not to go against that Tennessee set defense. So we'll find out. That's a problem.
Days wide open three. It was set up nicely, but it's a miss. Olivier Kamwa into the game. He was on the receiving end of that dish. And lead now 7. Thomas, tough, double teamed. Kick, keep Kamwa the rebound. Wide open, Fulkerson. All he had to do, it seemed like, Jimmy, turn around and lay it in. Instead, he kicked it for a 3.
Advice from not only take advice from 5 or 6 people, so that's
right.
The best way to answer that. It changes with a win or a loss. Keon Johnson, that's not what he did the other night to Georgia, but handoff 3. You have to blow that play up, get on top of him. If he back cuts and makes it 2, so be it. But you cannot let him run into a handoff 3.
Usually can't let that guy shoot an open 3.
But love the confidence being displayed by the Spartans thus far in the game.
USC Upstate really wanted to try to work a little more inside out in this game. It's going to be hard to do against a Tennessee team who is... Well, New Year's Day, the SEC Nation crew will get you set for the college football playoff semifinals. Laura, Roman, Tim, and Jordan will have live reports from stadiums, features on Alabama, and a full breakdown of the Titans. Johnson's minutes have been limited, but his time with Rick Barnes has been extensive.
And will continue to be, right?
For the balls that make them so effective. They've got good shooters outside, strong guys inside. This guy, one of the best shooters in the country.
Santiago Vescovi, new hair color, same jumper. He's got 2.
They've made just 1 out of their last 7. Saunders, wild shot, looking to draw the contact, and quickly up ahead. Saunders, long pass to Fulkerson. And that all starts with James getting the defense, but coming up well short once again. Ball rebounded quickly off the floor. Vescovi wearing number 25 into the front court. Tennessee will be patient off the left wing and buries out another 3. And absolutely we'll look at the numbers for offensive rebounds and then second chance points when we've got a moment. Springer, nice pass inside the Ponds. He'll throw that one down with a little emphasis. Beautiful, and a little stronger. I was about to say stronger with the ball, and he's turned it over for the 4th time. Springer, why not? Out to the hot hand, and down again.
They start making some shots. And this...
Would you describe that as a good look for Pippen Jr.?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that was Studi, I believe, who shot it, but I mean, it still was a good look. I mean, it was coming out of a timeout. Watching the games.
To your point about making shots, Tennessee pretty efficient, number 4 in the SEC at 47% so far on the year. They were 7 for 21 tonight from the outside the arc. Got to the free.
That win against Kansas was Tennessee's second against a ranked team. Yves Pons did that at the start of Saturday's game, and if he gets going early, look, quasi-push, that made it look a little cooler. So late in the shot clock here for Tennessee. This is James. He already has a 3 and now a 2. Dane, what are these steps to recovery?
Have been. Ole Miss just does not have the offensive firepower to win this game in the 70s, 80s.
James is starting to catch fire. It was soft Saturday. Rick Barnes, some of the players, they both referenced it. The team and Barnes had a little heart-to-heart on Friday evening before the Saturday win, and he
Party with 11 points finds Fulkerson.
I like the way Jaden's playing. Even when he's got the hot hand and he's scoring, instead of looking for his shot, he finds Fulkerson.
Still Tennessee basketball.
So this is what you call a slip. So the defender sits on top, you just slip down. You don't roll, you don't turn, you slip. Stay facing the basketball so you can receive so much skill. Coach Pelfrey talks about how he's a leader, he's bought in, and especially in a year like this where they're building the groundworks for the program, he's been a really key piece. some games, he was shooting with some anxiety. He had some kind of angst, like he really wanted to shoot it. Now he's just settled in. It's smooth coming off of his fingertips. Talented. It's just finishing the plays that they need from him, and he's done a nice job 2 times now at putting the ball on the rim. He's no stranger to orange. His sister, Nikki Anasicki, someone.
Clay was trying to attack for a moment.
From deep on the other end. Great swing. And on the skip pass, Josiah Jordan-James has his second. Here's James. And he's fouled on the 3. Moody returns the favor.
Just a game. I just think from talking to coaches, there's some momentum starting to build for that philosophy.
Here's a nice up-blank look off the feed from Springer. Hey, what can we expect out of Jaden Springer? Hadn't played the last couple of games with the left ankle injury.
Well, I'm anxious to see his explosiveness off the bounce, because that's the one thing that Tennessee lacks, is a guy that can go record backs it up. I thought it was comical yesterday talking with Rick. Coaches are so much into their own team, their own stuff. Really good backed up by Conwell. Into their own team, their own stuff.
We've talked a lot about Alabama, and for good reason, undefeated in conference play, leading the SEC. Those aren't good shots for Nate Oates' team, as Vescovi makes his first 3 of the night. He hates. And he throws it away. 3 on 2. Pons trailing and jamming.
Gets scraped right there.
I think it happened as he was turning into a do, and I don't think it was a foul. It was prior to that. It had already happened.
He did get away with it. Total carelessness between Pons and Vescovi. Ball fake, gap, attack, well done.
Springer, good pass to Pons.
Yeah, that A&M defense today is probably as good as we've ever had. We've only had one, but this is probably better than the first one. You agree?
Yeah, I would say so, as the ball goes to Fulkerson early. This will and he'll kick. Keon Johnson. Extra pass. Springer into the lane. Good look. And a flush from Conwell.
How good was that? Tennessee drove it a couple of times. Kicked.
Yeah, all in the second part of this first half. They've made 6 of their last 10. I was going to say they were all in the second half of the first half, but I thought that would confuse people. So that
I would not want any part of. And we're going to get into that over the next 7:38. And Baylor is one of those 4, and I'm going to tell you who the other 3 are. I wouldn't want Fulke and Pons have to continue to be Fulke and Pons like they've been in the past.
But I'll tell you what, you got 8 turnovers in the second.
NCAA, not UCLA, NCAA. And I'm telling you, I got to believe that has hurt big time their recruiting. The recruiting level is not what Kansas is about.
The ball ends up with Springer again. Gives it up to Keon Johnson. The long rebound again ends up with Tennessee. And the alley-oop from Springer to Pons.
You're not going to win like
a 3-point play for Marcus Garrett. And Kansas needs more of that, and they need some stops. They have allowed Tennessee to shoot 56% from the field. Another easy one for Johnson.
And other leaders across sports, whether it be Jack Jim and John Harbaugh, or on the baseball side of things, or basketball, that they're always picking other coaches' brains and learning how you're dealing with during a pandemic?
Tom, I think it is, because you didn't have the non-conference and all those different things that we all know. We don't need to get into the list, but I think Tom has spot 4 games in a row, but they're going to have to get in a couple of ball games in that tournament that they've got to shoot the ball like they are tonight. If they do, they can absolutely get there, Tom, because of their depth. Again, they're looking at one of the top 3, the power forward mentality charge that this kid has in his game. That was powerful.
Oh my goodness, may not be strong.
I'm expecting to spring it here for a couple of possessions.
Xavier Wheeler, pardon me, Katie Johnson got his hands in there for the takeaway. Lost his footing on the way up.
They beat Mississippi State to get here. Tennessee, number 4 adjusted defense. They beat the Gators. Springer got caught up in the air.
Yeah. Hey, Gordon, I got to ask you one question. Does Ken Palm ever sleep? How's the guy doing that?
Blocks the shot.
Come on, with a great defensive play right there. That should have been an easy layup. What a turnaround that was.
Should have been, but boy, did you see Pond's effect? Burner misses another 3, so they've gotten offensive rebounds, taken threes and missed them. That's a bad pass. Springer threw it behind and at the feet of Johnson. And in reaching back, Dickie B, he's limping a bit like a free safety. Back-to-back turnovers for Alabama. They're struggling to get close. 9-point advantage. It was 15 at one point. Quinterly slaps his leg in frustration. 6 and an update after the break.
Starting today, nobody has to settle for less than the very best, because only Verizon gives you 5G from
with the exception on the side of Noah Locke, and he's not on the floor right now. So the gap defense by Tennessee gets even heavier. Ball on the ground, and it comes away with Florida. Sting that way, and that's where the ball went. Bad pass. Jaden Springer committed it, getting up in the air, and then tried to find Fulkerson, the leading the conversation as they came off the floor.
And guys, after Keontae Johnson collapsed, Mike White made the decision. We're just going to
things we're good at. Sorry, I'm trying to not get distracted by the game as I talk to you guys, but I think the coaching profession is perfect for his personality. Really good coaches that I've got the chance to work with throughout my career are hyper-focused.
Got whipped. And Deruge is a guy that had 10 defensive rebounds in the last ball game against Missouri. He does not have 1 rebound so far, talking about 4 in black.
Springer out of sorts, turns the ball over there.
And then Tennessee reels them back in. Look at the second chance points for Auburn. That's the difference maker.
Swing the ball side to side.
Springer. Wraparound pass off the shins of Anasicki.
You know, Anasicki was right. Want that instant gratification and don't realize maybe staying in school is the best thing for them.
Springer tries to go end to end. That's an offensive foul. Mintz took the charge.
Sheboy is right now with Kentucky. You know that, right, Bob? Transfer from West Virginia?
Well, yeah, he'll be eligible next season. They don't think they're going to get him eligible at any point this season.
Swinging around. Barnes trying to get this offense to execute a little bit better. Be patient with it. There, it's a turnover by Springer.
But he coming off the bench as a platoon guys.
Yeah, maybe.
But
right.
even then, I don't know that they had 2 5-stars.
Yeah, or in the old days when you had such, guys didn't go out early so many times. Some of these good.
Finds Vescovi. Great Missouri defense, loose ball, and it's found by Drew Smith. Pinson deep.
Well, we were too. We were sorry about it too. Oh man, great
Between the legs save, and then Pons with the block, and they're going to get him.
Primary point guard duties in his history. Coach Brandon's been very impressed with his ability to transition from sort of off-guard supporting role into primary point guard.
Lots of contact, but a traveling violation is going to be called against. And solid as Tennessee is defensively. If you're Vanderbilt, you can't give up easy ones. On the turnover, jumped in the air to pass that ball, and an offensive foul is going to be taken. Miles Studi, 6'15 pounds, mentioned out of D.C. Started a couple of games, averaging 14 points per game as an example. There's another holding foul. They called an offensive foul. Working up against.
For him to look back on that, and when we asked Kermit Davis about him, I mean, Kermit Davis just lights up and just talks about what a great individual Coolidge Ball is, and well-deserved. And Kermit Davis
for Tennessee. When the Vols won an SEC championship, then won a school record 31 games. And it's going to go back the other way. Springer was begging for a whistle.
Trying to pull off the upset, you need to try to control.
Well, and immediately a missed free throw for Ole Miss. Ball on the ground. Is Ole Miss going to get the timeout?
It's all based in his upbringing when his mom, who adopted him in France, was a dance instructor. As he said, he learned dance when he was just a youngster, and it helped develop a lot of those leg muscles.
In the practice facility, do we ever have a drill where, okay, let's jump towards the shooter when at the three-point line? The answer to that is not only no, but heck no. And a really good job. Very impressive.
He's a chef, he's a photographer. Very good case to be made as the best Dulladu. Pons pinned it to the window. Springer on the floor with 3. Now force into an open floor turnover. Where did this offense come from?
Well, everybody raises their level of enthusiasm when the commissioner's involved, even the guys playing on the floor. And finally, a three-point shot drops for Vescovi. Pons was electric in the trend.
Pons blocking foul. He's done.
Watch Keon Johnson. Does the shot get off, first of all, in this ball game?
Turnover for Tennessee.
Get open shots, I'm going to knock him down. That's why he's going to be really, really good, and he is really, really good. He doesn't walk away from what the mirror tells him where he needs to get better. And really, that goes for him.
Once again, another touch for 10 in orange. He tried to spin to his right shoulder and had nowhere to go, so they'll start again. Springer in the lane, lost it. And flag hustled down, and that's...
Order ahead plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'.
Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch. We take a look at tonight's Wendy's Wooden Watch. Of course, the top players in the country. Well, John, they've been stuck on 48 for a while. And Tennessee had 59 prior to another 3 for Vescovi. His 21 is a career high.
You're right. Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan, and Iowa. I don't want any part of those 4 teams. Those 4 teams look different to me. The 100.
I thought you were going to show Magic, Kareem, and McHale, and Bird. hurt. Oh, those days, they were oh so special. LeBron and his guys, I don't think they're going to be denied. I think they're going to win it again.
At ESPN, it was the last couple of years that John Chaney was the coach at Temple, and he was famous for his 6 a.m. practices. I didn't know about that until I was assigned one of his games, but
shooting like 5 for 23 or 4?
5 for 23, really? 21%.
21%. And yet they're still in the game because they do more than just
give them a basket. The urgency needs to be shown by this Tennessee team in these first 4 minutes. They have to come out here and put their imprint on this game on the defensive end.
Georgia's picking its spots when it wants to push the tempo. Here's Eder in the corner. Drills it. I was saying, quiet first half for Xavier Wheeler, just 2 points. Is he really doing a good job taking the pain away?
Yesterday, an outstanding three-point shooter from Villanova. And he stands out there waiting to see what Jones does with it. He gets it to Juwan Gary. Herb's worked on the bottom for Santiago Vescovi.
Santiago really felt really good yesterday. Played really well.
Shackelford keeps shooting.
Took him on the phone. Just you feel his energy, enthusiasm. You know that becomes contagious with all the players. It rubs off.
Jones kick. Ellis 3. And that ball is blocked by Herb Jones.
Tennessee has played really a superb first half. And I feel Alabama's going to come.
Pons hasn't scored a point, but he has certainly affected what's gone on so far here with 1.5 minutes to go.
This play fast-paced basketball. They should put him in the NIT. They've had some quality wins. I really believe that. I mean, Tom's got that program moving in a positive.
Appleby goes in amongst the trees. Man needs one, and he can't get it there. Osifo, the rebound. Appleby 3. Too short. Appleby decides, I'll take it. Really good job. Lewis may have tweaked that right leg of his too, Jimmy, whether he hit a photographer or got a cramp. That the Bailey 3 was the shot Rick Barnes wanted. That ball deflected out of bounds, and you can see Rick talking to Bailey in the corner there.
I'm sure that it wasn't. Rick Barnes handled his team beautifully through that situation. You know what, on the other end, Mike White did the same.
I mean, Michigan State. Now that would be a little more legit if they get stuck as they get inserted as a 2 seed. Whoever that 2 seed will have, terrible. Offensive rebounding is a huge player in Sharif Cooper, being very vocal and really talking guys through possessions on both ends.
And they know that. They've had
force a tough look, clean up that board, and go.
Jaden Johnson at 21 in his Georgia debut.
We get Rupp now 24 tonight.
Wheeler trying to reverse it, got stuck under the rim.
Kumwa had it picked by Reese and a run out. Pons went for the block. Instead, it's Kumwa who comes back. And
pretty good. His name is Pitino. P-I-T-I-N-O.
Burner misses another three, so they've got nothing.
Good switch by Pons. Just ate it up. Not settle Tennessee for a lot of jump shots in this game.
Scotty Lewis off the mark. Tennessee had
the nation in defensive efficiency. They can guard you. We know that. But they've got to be able to score, and those freshmen have to continue to step up for them.
Top four.
For number 8 Tennessee here on Rocky Top on a Monday night.
Healthy consistently. He was kind of the missing piece.
And he played with a broken wrist.
Yeah, when he was healthy, they were a tournament team. When he wasn't, they weren't.
Tough shot in traffic, and it's blocked. Sorry, Debbie.
No, I was just say Vandy did a really good job in that defensive possession, and they didn't help off the short corner. That's why Vescovi games for Rick Barnes.
Is he our alpha dog that we've been looking for?
Well, I mean, if he plays defense and stays on the floor, he could be.
Teams in the last 3 games have scored over 80 points each per game.
Boston, he's been shooting with confidence of late. That one is in and out. Toppin. In and out.
You knew that was going up though after that dunk, right? He's just tough.
Mintz off the rim. Final minute and
7 straight single-figure games, which is surprising before the last 2.
Woods too strong. Misses
and do, and then he becomes more aggressive with the ball. He shoots 84% from the free throw line. And if he's aggressive and gets to the foul line, again,
if he sends the guy left and there's no help defense, actually Tennessee runs away from the ball. And just a one-on-one blow by.
LSU and Will Wade have nightmares over because his debut was against LSU, like his college debut.
And first 16 minutes of this game, more than capable defensively of fighting, more than capable defensively of cleaning up a miss, more than capable.
The Alabama recipe for success. We go in the paint, at the rim, or threes.
Cam Thomas go. He won the first 3 steps because he was cheating that way as the ball was shot. Now, guys are wired to score, and they sniff those kind of plays out.
He's a pretty good shooter, even though he struggles. At times you look at his stats, but everybody says he's a pretty good shooter. Came from Oregon, transfer. Yeah. But I just think sometimes these kids, they want that instant gratification and don't realize maybe staying in school is the best thing for them. I'm going to name Evan Mobley, 6'10". He's had 62 points and 32 rebounds in his last 3 games. You know, guys, when you go to that lane, get that drop step over the kid's foot and boom, right to the basket.
And it's the matchup of the night in the Big 12. Number 17, West Virginia, squares off against number 13, Texas Tech.
Actually wants to continue to work on being a better rim protector. That along with rebounding. You know, that's something that is the year before. They're also, I think, going to be a challenge for Tennessee with Cam Thomas, Trendon Wofford, and then Javonte Smith.
Some straight up against some of the guards from Missouri.
Mitchell Smith picks up the loose ball way off the mark. And their guys take a couple days off, get home if they could. Brown from the free throw line.
Find these times they just don't shoot it well enough. And if you don't, it puts too much pressure on you on the defensive end. And if it gets contained, their careers will multiply just by the time they spend in a Vol uniform, whether it's 1 year, 2, or 3, or 4.
For a lot of mistakes.
Good look from outside the arc, but coming up well short once again. Ball rebounded quickly up. Jerry Stackhouse, head coach for Vanderbilt in his 2nd season after a remarkable 18-year NBA career.
Difficult because their bigs will stand outside and your big has got to go out there and guard him. But then Sue is very
has that shot rejected by Pons.
Vanderbilt coming up with a lot of loose balls, getting those second chance. Critical part of the game right now. For Vanderbilt.
Pippen Jr.
Good look.
Would you describe that as a good look?
Was the right name because he can hop.
Pippen Jr. Can't believe that he wasn't given some.
Tennessee, and that's how Ole Miss is hanging around.
White watched that one go down and out. You know,
his youth. Well, he's the best defensive player we have in the college game. He's on the bench right now, but Gilliard, that's a difference he makes.
Coming out of high school, big time block there. Follow from Smith doesn't go. Stewart, 13 short. 1,000 a game last year.
I thought this was cool today, reading through the game notes.
And Aruna, that's too strong. I remember when I first started at ESPN, it was the last couple of years that John Chaney was the coach at Temple, and he was famous.
What Rick told us today, Fulke's got to be Fulke. That means you have to stay out of contact plays and use your speed like you're wrong if you don't get on the floor.
Wheeler's had a quiet half. Still hasn't scored. Living right. Wheeler to his strong side, gets his free back-to-back 23-point games.
Typically, Tom Crean right now would get Severe Wheeler going to his left, making a play. Tennessee takes away and finally
shooting like 5 for 23 or 4.
5 for 23, 21%.
21%, and yet they're still in the game because they do more than just
11 total turnovers.
Florida with 13, and that's, you talk to Mike White over the last minute.
Things are moving a little quick right now for number 2.
Yeah, they are. He's a high percentage-wise.
If you care more about low taxes than tall buildings, if quality of life feels like an oxymoron, if
give them a basket. The urgency needs to be shown by this Tennessee team in these first 4 minutes. They have to come out here and put their imprint on this game on the defensive end. They tend to do that out of timeouts or when you really need a hoop, but you may want to play through him more. Because outside of him and Johnson, they're really not getting much offensively.
the season might be stopped.
Tennessee 4 of 6, and Jaden Springer gets the job done with that pull-up jumper. He's got 4. There goes Herb Jones. That
Talk about what's going to go on down there in certainly Indianapolis. Can you imagine if we're a great team that's challenging for a championship? All of a sudden,
black-eyed, and even E. Pons couldn't go up and get that alley-oop as high as it was thrown. If anybody is going to be able to get it, it's him. Johnson puts the brakes on. They kick it to Vescovi, ready to shoot. When he got it, he knocks down a three. Santiago Vescovi now with 9.
Up 15.
With 12:31 still to go. See the difference in the second half. And the field goal is 5 for 11. Alabama, we all know about.
Example right there. Forced turnovers, and they tackle off the bounce to the rim.
Herb Jones so good with his footwork there.
Pass feels risky, doesn't it, from Florida?
Well, they're so active in white right now. Man is open at the top of the key, but Taruji muscle.
Some of those other leagues like the Big Ten, they just absolutely smoke each other around the rim on those post-ups.
Appleby blocked on his way in. Castleton. Second half.
Yeah, because he's your best ball screen guy, and Tom, he could go get his own, and he could get his own at any spot on the front with 8.
All of Pons' 8 have come in the second half. Here's Scotty Lewis. Florida picking up the tempo now, and Lewis fouls. Gave it up. Florida desperate for a bucket. Resensive inside to Castleton, and he got Springer in the air.
First time this year as the starter and primary ball handler. And here is why they want Flanagan more chances.
Athletic, and Fulkerson gets it going the other way.
Back-to-back swats. And on the kickout.
If you care more about low taxes than tall buildings, if quality of life feels like an oxymoron, if home is the most important word.
10 guys. So
What Rick told us today, Fulky's got to be Fulky. That means you have to stay out of contact plays and use your speed like you.
Living right. Wheeler to his strong side, gets his free. Back-to-back 23-point games.
Typically, Tom Crean right now would get Severe Wheeler going to his left, making a play. Tennessee takes away, and finally
the Bailey 3 was the shot Rick Barnes wanted. That ball deflected out of bounds, and you can see Rick talking to Bailey in the corner there.
I'm sure that it wasn't.
If you're St. Joe's at times, create the offensive rebound and go in there, try to get a foul, because just running your offense on the perimeter is not going to.
Fade away off the rim from Mintz.
Topping well, running this floor out front.
Bryant with the turnaround, and they're going to get Springer.
Do a little movement. That would have got you going.
That would have.
Fire in the hole.
And an assist to Eve Pond.
He goes right behind.
Kenley Wright starting to attack. Lays it in.
They're going to have to do more of that. They're going to have once on a neutral in the SEC tournament down in Nashville. So there aren't many guys that can claim that against John Calipari.
Keon Johnson does it again.
Too many guys getting right down the lane without being stopped at all.
Straight up man-to-man defensively, each guy pretty good on the ball. Can you swing the ball? Can you make it move? I asked someone today how old, because sometimes with foreign kids you don't know how old they are. He's 19 years old, just turned 19. It was probably a good job by Kim English, who used to coach out of Colorado. Tad Boyle, they got that game started. But yeah, finding teams to play.
4 of 11 from outside the arc, but only 5 of 18 overall.
Oh!
Good, hard attack of the basket. Once again. Julius again gets right down and run to retake the lead, 45-40.
Where do you go if you're Cincinnati? I'm not sure you can rely on Davenport to.
That's okay if you're Tennessee, but if you're Vanderbilt, you got to get this game going up and down. This is a team that wants to shoot 33s.
Schuler guarded by Springer. Springer just gave him enough run, up by 2. Schuler has been huge in the comeback.
Santiago Vescovi is so gritty and so tough. He plays with an element, kind of like a chip on his shoulder, just a grit.
Desi Sills averages 13 a game, hasn't scored yet, and gets it knocked away by Jaden Springer.
And they get a dunk at the rim. That very, very well done. Oh, another chart. They're really threatening Tennessee. Nope. If you're Tennessee, you can't buy into what I just said. Like, you can't get comfortable in this.
Point of our first half. Open look from the wing. Bonds looking for the Sports Center top 10, couldn't finish.
Basketball was when he took over. That was not an easy situation. But Rick Barnes, Bailey has got some speed, right? His mother was an Olympic medal winning hurdler. His father was an NFL wideout. So genetic.
A little after 3 o'clock, third round coverage of the Genesis Invitational. That's coming up right after hoops here on CBS. 3-ball doesn't go for Boston.
Rangers out in the NCAA tournament. Rebound corralled by Vescovi. Tennessee started the season 7.
But he's recruited really by Jimmy Valvano. Tommy Abatamarco was on that staff, who now works for Rick Pitino and Iona. He's exactly right there with that three.
Lane fouled as Keon Brooks, and he will go to the line to try and put Kentucky back on top when we come back. Well, normally, this Tennessee team only allows about 58.
Proven value. It's easy to love a Subaru.
Subaru Pacific, part of the LA Car Guy family of dealerships. Complimentary maintenance.
Point guard position, something that Kentucky didn't have, and that's why Tennessee, I think, is so successful. They've got a great mix of veterans and quality freshmen in Springer and
enough to come back in this game. Where do they need to be on the offensive end to finish in the top third of the league this year?
Some parts of it are very wide. That was a very wide part. That was wide. Well, that's a very poor defensive breakdown, because as stingy Dessou out of the corner.
So good with that stroke. Right at 44% now on the year. And he's not the quickest guy, Ravi, but wisdom, defensive philosophy. That last basket, just a good, strong gap punch by Springer to free up Vescovi from it. I think they've all become much better listeners. And Shaka was spot on yesterday with me about it. You're wrong if you don't get on the floor.
Wheeler's had a quiet half. Still hasn't scored. Came in with 134 assists on the season. There he is going left, and he coughed it up, taken away by Springer.
Yeah, Tom Greenfield like
shooting like 5 for 23 or 4.
5 for 23, 21%.
21%. And yet they're still in the game because they do more than just.
Will be 3. Too short. Another offensive rebound. Lewis lost it.
Tennis, their lowest ever in the Ken Palm era, if that number continues.
Here's Man, and again, that time it was the. Appleby decides, I'll take it. 11 total turnovers.
Florida with 13, and that's, you talk to Mike White over the last.
Things are moving a little quick right now for number 2.
Yeah, they are. He's a high percentage-wise.
Really good job. Lewis may have tweaked that right leg of his too, Jimmy, whether he hit a photographer or got a cramp.
Glover lost it, and Tennessee comes up with it.
They tend to do that out of timeouts or when you really need a hoop, but you may want to play through him more, because outside of him and Johnson, they're really not getting much offensively.
Wheeler to push. Here's Kamara, poked away. 3 on the clock, loose ball. They come out of there with it. Bailey at the buzzer. Came in with 134 assists on the season. There he is going left, and he coughed it up, taken away by Springer.
Tom Greenfield like
Header with the board. Springer jumped on the left, forced a turnover.
Johnson, a projected first-round pick. He had the dunk of the year in the conference for shooting.
Assumed he was their #1 scorer, but he was not. #4.
Did a lot of other things, didn't he, though? Will be 3. Too short. Another offensive rebound. Lewis lost it.
Tennis, 90 minutes from Knoxville. It will be very difficult for him, I think, to take that jersey off and really understand, is this the last time? Their lowest ever in the Ken Palm era, if that number continues.
Here's Mann, and again, that time it was the...
Glover lost it, and Tennessee comes up with it.
Try to get him involved. Double up dive. Can you get him with a pin? There you go.
Springer steals it.
Just
all the momentum.
Forcing turnover rate with activity and energy on the ball, and sometimes they'll press you. They just have not looked engaged on either end of the floor throughout the course in his stead. And you've got to want the ball. And there's Justin Powell. You've got to want the ball in these situations. And
Is pocket picked by Jaden.